What's up, everybody? This is your boy Frank. We're going to be talking about the trailer for Avengers Infinity War. I'm excited. You're excited. All kinds of stuff to talk about. You know, one of the first things that jumped out at me was the way that the many characters came in to do that monologue at the very beginning. I thought that was a very cool way to start things off. You know, we finally got to see a little bit of a spider sense reaction from Peter when the hair stayed up on his arm. One of the things I noticed that was pretty interesting about that particular part was he seems to turn to his right and look right at it like it had been hovering over there for a couple of days and nobody knew why. But maybe just his spider sense told him which way to look. It seemed like all those kids had a big reaction, so maybe it was something that just popped up. We'll have to wait till the movie comes before we can see that. Banner obviously has returned to Earth. He returns by crashing through the roof of the Sanctum Sanctorum. He gets stumbled across by Doctor Strange and his buddy Wong. They eventually decide to call Tony Stark, as it seems, because he is seen a couple scenes later in the trailer standing out in the street looking at whatever's going on with Hulk and all of them in the background. It looked like Loki at one point, he's stepping over the bodies of these people to hold up the Cosmic Cube, the Tesseract, but I'm wondering if maybe those aren't the bodies of the Asgardians, like maybe in that post-credit scene from Thor, and here's a bit of a spoiler if you guys haven't seen Thor Ragnarok yet, is maybe that when they run into that ship in the post-credit scene, after Thanos attacks them and throws Thor through space and he lands like a bug on a windshield on the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, that maybe he just lays siege to the entire ship, murders all the remaining Asgardians, and Loki offers him the Tesseract is probably a way to save his own ass. Sounds just like Loki. That's probably how it's going to go. There's also a scene where Tony is holding a hand. He's holding a hand over his face. There's a lot of talk at first if this was somebody else's hand. I think it's Tony's own hand. I think he's just covering up his face with both hands. But you see the one hand that's closest to his face, it's got a lot of dirt, blood, or something on it. So I'm wondering if that doesn't have something to do with a scene that was in that leaked footage from D23 several months ago, where you see him standing over Peter, and Peter's laying there, and he's obviously had his ass beat by somebody, and he's sitting there apologizing to Tony for whatever. It looks like he's in a bad way, and he's about to die. But it makes sense to me because later on in the trailer you see Thanos come down and he really just lays a punch on somebody. I thought the first couple of times that I watched the trailer that it was actually Iron Man. Turns out it's Spider-Man, because you had that scene early on where he's standing up and he's got the full Iron Spider suit on, the one that was at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming that he would eventually tell Tony to hold on to. It's him that he's laying that punch on, so it's quite possible that if there is a death in this movie, it could possibly be Peter Parker. Now, we all know that the Infinity Gauntlet can actually give life too, so I'm sure at some point, if that's the case, they actually bring him back to life at some point. But we'll see. We'll see as the movie happens. But yeah, Thanos just laid a number on him, and so if you've seen that leaked footage from D23, you know what I'm talking about. Vision is obviously going to lose the stone in his forehead at some point during this movie. It looks like it was Thanos that comes down with that scepter that Loki had in the first Avengers film, and just tears it right out of his head. I don't think that means Vision dies. I've never seen anything in the movie that I can think of anyway that says that Vision has to have that stone in his forehead to live. So I'm pretty sure what probably happens is that he ends up trying to fight off Thanos and his minions, and he probably gets the stone ripped out, and then he just leaves thinking that Vision's not that big of a problem anymore. But I think the Vision's definitely going to stay, and he's going to play a role. We do get to see the Hulkbuster armor again, which is very exciting for me. I really thought the Hulkbuster armor, while very cool in Age of Ultron, could have been used more. It looks like, if you watch kind of the background of the scene, it looks like when the Hulkbuster armor is flying through the air and he lands, it looks like Wakanda in the background, and there's also surrounded by kind of this lush green foresty stuff that we see at various points in the trailer when they're doing battle with all of these little demon things. So definitely Wakanda is going to play a big role. I think all the heroes are going to be in Wakanda at some point, clearly from what this trailer shows me. That scene though, I'm guessing it's in Wakanda, with Steve leading that group of people through the forest. You got Steve in the middle, and then to the left you've got a Black Widow and Winter Soldier, and to the right you've got Hulk in the back, and you've got Black Panther, and then the air behind him on one side, you've got War Machine over here. I thought it was Iron Man at first. It's actually War Machine, so we know Rhodey's going to be in this. And you see Falcon over here. That's going to be a really cool, epic battle, I think. I'm really excited to see that one. It also kind of plants a question in my head. Is this battle going to be taking place in two different places? Because we don't know if, at that time, if Iron Man, and maybe it's not Iron Man, it's in the Hulkbuster armor. I'm assuming it is, but it really could be anybody. Hey, it could even be Bruce. Maybe they put the Hulkbuster armor on Hulk. Wouldn't that be isn't that a mind-blowing idea? But but we don't know if maybe that's one of the earlier battles, that maybe Iron Man and all of them haven't gotten to Wakanda yet, but they're all going to be there at some point. Also, it makes me wonder, there's no point in this trailer, and I know this is just the first trailer that's come out for this movie, but there's no point in this trailer where Steve is wearing the traditional Iron Man garb, doesn't have, the red, white, and blue, doesn't have the helmet, doesn't have the shield. And when Black Panther says, get this man a shield, it's not necessarily they're going to give him the shield that he threw down at the end of Civil War. I'm assuming that Tony's going to give him that shield at some point. I find it hard to believe that Steve doesn't pick up at least the shield again at some point. But I was talking to Aaron earlier, and he said that he did walk away from the Captain America persona at the end of Civil War. While that has validity, and I think that's probably a good summation, I find it hard to believe that he's not going to pick the shield up at least one more time. Maybe it's going to happen in this movie. Maybe it'll happen in the Ultimate Battle, in the next, whatever, Infinity Wars 2, whatever they're going to call it. We don't know yet. But, yeah, that is something that I thought about when I was seeing this. I didn't know we were going to see him in that traditional red, white, and blue again. Also, the one thing that was missing from this was there was no Ant-Man. Ant-Man is in the movie. Paul Rudd's filmed. He sent out a bunch of Instagrams and social media stuff about, pictures of filming and all that. So we know that he's in the film. Maybe the CGI just wasn't done yet. They didn't want to put him in there unless the CGI was done. Sometimes you'll see movie companies release these trailers and the CGI isn't all the way done yet, and you can kind of see it if you look close enough. But it looked like the CGI was all done in this video, in this trailer. So maybe the CGI just wasn't quite done on the Ant-Man stuff, and maybe they were holding him back. But he is going to be in the movie. It was kind of disappointing not to see him do a little something in here. I'm sure he's going to be small and big at some point in the movie. But yeah, those were my initial thoughts after a couple of hours of watching this thing over and over and over again in a loop, like I'm sure a lot of you are. So. Yeah, I'm excited to see this movie. I'm pretty sure you guys are too, and I'm sure I'll be there this spring when it comes out. We'll be doing a review on it. So, yeah, drop a like, drop a share if you agree with anything that I just blathered on about in this video. Click up here to find another video. Click up here to subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.